With the MLB proposing a potential expansion to playoffs, which would allow more teams to make playoffs, more teams to generate more revenue, pitcher Alex Wood decided to sound off on Twitter about this, saying, quote, "The Royals just sold for $1 billion. There is no money disparity. There are rich teams and there are really rich teams. All are capable to sign and field great rosters, yet choose not to. Cheap teams shouldn't be awarded with the playoffs if they don't spend." And now there's so much wrong with this statement, I think, that's just misleading a lot of people the wrong direction here. First of all, let's start with how business works. You guys know what Apple is, right? Biggest company in the world, $1.4 trillion is what it's currently worth, right? $1.4 trillion is what it would cost you to buy the Apples, essentially saying it cost $1 billion to buy the Royals. And you look at Apple, how much money do they make in a year? Close to about $200 million in, net profits in revenue every single year. And you put that in perspective, what is that? That's about 14% of what they're actually worth. So let's talk about the Royals. What's 14% of $1 billion? $140 million a year, essentially, is what the Royals bring in from a revenue standpoint. So to go out there and originally just say, hey, we have $1 billion to spend, we can buy anybody we want. Like, no, if you just, did Mookie Betts signs a $300 million contract this year, does that mean he can spend $300 million every single year? No, it means over the course of time, he's going to get a certain amount of money every single year. So first of all, you can't go out and plead that case. But here's the other problem you look at here, and he is completely wrong. Let's clarify something on blaming teams not wanting to spend, because let's take a look at, I don't know, ticket prices. The average ticket price for a Cubs game, $128. The average ticket price for a Royals game is about half of that at $65, which essentially means if you were to use a nice round number like 40,000 fans show up to a game a night, and that's assuming you sell out. Some teams draw bigger crowds and more consistent crowds than others, but we'll use 40,000 as a nice rough guesstimate anyway. 40,000 a night would be $2.6 million in ticket sales for the Royals, compared to the Cubs, who would make $5.21 million, essentially double that in ticket sales. Of course, you can calculate that over the course of an entire season. There is a big difference in revenue streams comparing the Cubs to the Royals. But you know what? Again, confusing numbers. I get it. You know what? We all might not understand the metrics behind ticket sales. There's other expenses. So let's use something a little bit more understandable that we all hear a lot about: TV deals. TV deals. Now, looking at this, it's a Fangraphs TV deal chart, and it is from 2016. Doesn't matter. It's 3 years ago. It's the same story now. The prices just keep inflating for other teams as well. But you look at this, we'll take away the Dodgers, and we'll look straight at the Yankees, because it's a prime team that likes to spend money. $100 million a year this team makes annually from a TV deal. On the other side of things, you have the Royals, who make a little bit under 30 million a year, essentially a third of that. So you look at that and say a third of what the Yankees make, so 70 million less a year. And it's important to know, any business, any sport, there's gonna be revenue sharing, where most likely you're going to see, the business owner is going to take 50% of the cut, while the revenue that's being generated and dispersed takes the other 50. You talk like YouTube. YouTube takes half the money any YouTube video makes, and the creator gets the other half. You talk in football, the revenue split between the players and owners is what, like 51 to 49 or something? Don't quote me on that. That's how it works. So you look at that $70 million difference just in a TV deal, and you cut that in half to $35 million a year, that team can obviously just go and spend on extra players. $35 million a year is another Mookie Betts or another Steven Strasburg. So to go out and say, and that's just TV deals. That's TV deals. That is a complete rough estimate. That is just to say, and you go and again, you talk about how they're making double the money easily. Some teams triple the money in ticket sales, because there's a lot of teams that don't sell out every night, and there's a lot of teams that do. And you consider the price disparity there. It is very, very hard to go out and say, hey, this team's bad because they choose not to spend. Let's clarify something here. If you're the New York Yankees and you're making $100 million a year in TV deals, and you're making, I don't know, this is again stupid numbers being thrown out there, but let's say they made $300 million in ticket sales, you're making $400 million. The owner keeps half of that. He's got $200 million to spend, which is about their payroll. And then you go look at the Royals. Let's go down to Royals. We're out $30 million in TV deals. Let's say again they make half in ticket sales, $150 million. All of a sudden you're talking $180 million in revenue. Again, just rough estimates. Keep that in mind here. There's a lot more in play on where the money's going, where it's being spent, but that's just rough estimates, and the two differences between these two teams $180 million. That mouth don't even sound right. 180. But sure, we'll go with it. Yeah, let's go with it. It'll be great. 180 million. Again, you say the same thing you say with the Yankees. These owners are making money, so you can't go down to cheap owners and the not so cheap owners. Let's say the Yankees take half of that money they make, so 200 million, as we mentioned. And you talk about the Royals, if they take half of that, you're talking 90 million. You're talking a $90 million payroll compared to a $200 million payroll. And if the owners both take the same amount of cuts. So it's kind of beyond ridiculous to go out and say, hey, the Royals have just as much money, or the Marlins have just as much money as the Yankees or the Dodgers or the Cubs have, when they don't. The owners at the end of the day are all going to be pulling in money. The difference is the revenue streams, and the revenue streams is what's costing the difference here. Now, sure, you can have an owner that says, you know what, well, we'll spend that extra $30 and $40 million, but you can see the difference there. If, for example, you're pocketing $90 million a year, this owner is, and the other's pocketing $200 million a year, even if you were to go over that 50-50 split, I'm pretty sure the owner that's pocketing an extra $200 million, you say, it's an extra $20 million, is just fine compared to the owner pocketing $90 million, and say, it's an extra $20 million. No, because one is what? One is 10%, and the other's 20, almost 20. You can't compare it. The problem is the revenue streams and how the baseball has an unlimited cap, and there is no sort of revenue sharing that would actually balance every single league or every single team's ability to be competent. The playoff system to allow more teams in that don't have the revenue stream is a fantastic idea. They have to figure out a way to implement it, though, and a way that it's not going to screw up the balance of the season. We've seen guys talk about you can't have a 10-day rest for pitchers, but we'll see what baseball has to do with it.